I'm so excited for all of you here today to hear from our plenary speakers today. First, I would like to welcome Shiree Teng, a lifeline social and racial justice advocate. Shiree has worked in the movement for over 40 years and brings her commitment to social change everywhere she goes. Shiree has an intimate understanding of the issues and challenges related to working in communities of color and the dynamics of race, class, gender, culture, and power. Please join me in inviting Shiree to the stage.
I am hella nervous, so need your energy, your love. Thank you. We wrote 2 brown papers that I am extremely proud of. My co-authors, Audrey Jordan, Kate Morales, who both ran workshops yesterday and today. I hope some of you were there to join us. In measuring love, it was a challenge to put down what we think are the elements of love. I would say to you all that catalytic love is an intentional decolonizing act. Oh, my slides are not up. Oh, okay, thanks. Okay, sorry. I was born a colonized person in my own mother country of Hong Kong. 大家，我今日好榮幸有機會同你講幾句。Everywhere I looked in the places of power when I was growing up had the Queen Elizabeth porcelain face with her crown, with her jewels. On stamps, on bills, dollar bills, money bills. Places of power, banks, police officers, offices, the city government. Every time I looked at Queen Elizabeth's porcelain skin portrait, I stared at self-hatred. That is not me and never will be. I did not speak English when I immigrated to this country at 11, and I felt that I was completely erased. Bell Hooks taught me that love is an antidote to domination. I agree and believe that love is a decolonizing act. Love is something that has been taken away from us, especially loving ourselves. So I ask us, how radically are we loving ourselves? How radically are you loving yourself? I ask myself that every day. I turned 64 this year, so I'm getting up there. Yeah. I don't want to be just an older, I want to be an elder. That I have wisdom that I have learned throughout my life. I have organized for 20 years. I started when I was 17, and now I take my work to social and racial justice organizations. They're fighting for power and fighting for change. But this work requires us to radically, at the root, love ourselves. I'm not talking about self-love. I'm not talking about self-care, like soothing love. I'm not talking about painting our nails and having a glass of wine or whatever your vice is. That's all good. Massages are great. Turning off our phones are great. Those are self-soothing, loving acts. What I'm talking about and inviting you into is a demanding, relentless hard work of loving ourselves as colonized people. That requires us, right, to really embrace our history, each other, and seeing why we don't love ourselves. At the root, why is it? What messages have been given to us to not love ourselves? Not take our power seriously and leave it on the table, leave it in the rooms that we're in. Why do we do that? I wanted to know. In measuring love, we propose to you there are at least 12 dimensions of love. And it all starts with loving ourselves in the radical way, beyond the soothing ways, so that we can extend that love to others. How we can practice our love in community and fuse our love with power. How many of you would consider yourself a colonized person? Raise your hand. Let me see you. How many of you would say, I am nervous when I use my power? Raise your hand. I am with you. I have left power in rooms and at tables pretty much all my life until I turned 60. I decided I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks anymore. And as graceful as I'm capable, I will let you know that I got power, I got voice, I got agency, and I have things to say. And I want that for each of you. Because we together have things to say. We got work to do. We got intentions to fulfill. We got liberation on our minds and in our hearts. So radical loving ourselves means embracing all the gifts that I am, all the blessings that you are, and all the crap that I am, and all the shit that you've got. I love you regardless, because I love myself. I've learned to love myself in all the ways that I am bright and dark. We wrote Measuring Love. My co-author's name is Sammy Nunes. I want to bring Sammy into this space. I met Sammy 2014. I was kind of smug at the time. I was coming on board as the learning and evaluation consultant to the blah, blah, blah foundation that was funding youth organizing and youth power building. I was like full of myself at that little moment. I knew I needed to meet Sammy. He was one of the leaders from Stockton, California, a Latina, deeply impoverished community. He was leading a group called Fathers and Families of San Joaquin that is now no more. I met Sammy. He was coming toward me with a group of young men behind him, and I was like shaking his hand, and he looked at me. He said, "How do you measure love, Shiree? Because that's what we're doing out here." I think my jaw dropped to the ground, and I was like, and tried to babble some things. But that question sat with me for 5 years. How do we measure love? How dare we think that we can and must and ought to? If our sector, the social benefit sector, is not about love, why are we here? Popular culture sings about love. The church praises about love. But we, in our sector, shy from that word and that concept. It's not professional. It's mushy. How do you measure that? What else do people say? You can't be your whole self, at work. I call BS. No, we gotta be who we are. We gotta show up as who we are. We gotta be free to be who we are. So Sammy's question propelled this need to answer, what is love? That is beyond the popular culture's definition. Narrow, colonized definition of love, and commodifying sex along with it, right? That colonization has put a price tag on the sacred act of sex and love. No. We need to reject all that and say, what is the alternative? So Measuring Love was our first brown paper. Then one day, I think it was a year and a half after Measuring Love came out, I got a call from Masha, the board chair of Fathers and Families of San Joaquin. Sammy's been arrested on allegations of child sexual abuse that happened 20 years ago. I thought, oh my God, what the heck? What? Somebody I thought I respected and loved and trusted. What? So I called a few people who have been really helping me become who I am. One of them said, you know what? Your paper is going to get some traction. You should erase him. Take his name off. Erase all the contents that were about Sammy and FFSJ. And let the paper soar. I thought, wow, okay, that's pretty radical. I suppose. It sat with me for about a day. And I couldn't. I couldn't do it. Because Sammy, in spite of the worst things that he's ever done, he is also a victim of child sexual abuse. I think that moment asked me to look at myself and say, what's the worst thing you've ever done, Shiree? Oh, let me name them. Oh my God. There were so many. But among them were some things that I was really ashamed of and not proud of. So it brings us to this: the opposite of life is not death, it's trash. Kate Morales. That if we believe life and death is one continuous cycle, when I die, I will return to nourish this planet, this Mother Earth. But what's all the trash that's needing to be processed and composted so that we are digesting and cleansing ourselves and getting ourselves ready for connection? Have you ever tried to connect with someone who has not done work on themselves? What happens? Nothing happens, right? It's like, so I'm like, no, we've got to cleanse and digest, and so that we can move toward mutuality and connection that colonization, exploitation, genocides, enslavement has taken away from us. We've got to relearn and redo. We are in a state of suspension between what is dying and decaying, which is capitalism, exploitation, white supremacy, and what is becoming, which is us. We are in the process of composting, and let's make that process conscious. I'm so grateful to Kate and Audrey and our fourth co-author, Rosa Gonzalez, for these lessons, for this medicine that I am able to convey today. I think we need to love ourselves critically. Critically meaning, it's not just loving ourselves. It's critical analysis of what, am I living in integrity with who I say I am when nobody's looking? Am I doing and being who I say I am? That's being critical, right, of of loving myself. Whoa, sorry. Let us love each other from a place of deep empathy. And you are not one story to me, as I am not one story. Let's practice fierce love in community. And let us fuse power with love for the rise of our people. Otherwise, why are we doing this? Our people, we are going to rise, people. We are rising already. And we're going to do this together in love with one another. My call and encouragement for all of us is to free our imagination. We're not going to serve or intervene our way out of sexual assault or misogyny or patriarchy. We're going to have to free our imagination on things that we're not yet knowing. Let that new world come into being. We are the ones that are creating this new world that's coming into being as the old world is dying and decaying. When we get there, we're going to need people who have tried things and who have promising practices for us. Right? We are that. So freeing our imagination requires us to rest, to daydream, to just sit around and laugh and tell stories. We're not going to grind our way into bigger imagination. So rest, people. You deserve it. We deserve it. Second is composting our trash, what's sitting inside, spiritually, physically, emotionally, headly. We need to let go of all the things that weigh us down so that we can soar and fly and be truly liberated. I used to feel guilty about stepping into freedom. Who am I to have this free, to be free, to say what I want, to do what I think is the right thing? Who am I to do all that? It went against every grain in my colonization. Then I realized, who am I not to? Because when I heal, my ancestors heal, my descendants heal. And I want that for you, for all of us. And the third is, what's the worst thing I've ever done? Examine that. Inquire. Because when you do that, when we do that, our heart actually expands, not contract, right? It's counterintuitive. That when we love is an infinite pool in energy. It's not like pie. You eat a piece and then it's gone. It will refill, replenish, and get bigger. So I invite you to stand up with me right now. If you're willing and if it's comfortable for you, please stand up. I want you to be big. Do a big gesture. What is the big that you want to be? Feel that. When we are free, when we're big, we can sway, we can swing, yeah, we can slide, we can dance, we can smile. We are medicine to each other. So yes, please, I want you to do that all day long. I want freedom for me, for you. I want to be liberated. I want you to be liberated. This is the QR code for our papers. If you would, if you're able to download it from there, we are so grateful for your love and support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're amazing.